What up? Yo, guys, welcome to another episode of Roof Wars. Happy Friday. Mr. Bonnie, you're back in the seat. We've had a couple where we've had some pretty fun guests, but we're going back OG. What up? How are
Right.
you?
Downgrade officially. Apologies to all the listeners out there. But hey,
Never
we'll try
said
to make it fun.
that. I never said that
I
first
did.
off.
No,
I
no, I
said,
did.
I think, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because no matter what I say is not going to go over good with somebody. So, what up? All right, guys, today's going to be cool and fun because we're going to be unpacking customer experience. And it is just such a, I'll say, buzzword of what is customer experience? Like, how do you make your customer experience better? Do you just show up quicker? Maybe. But we're going to unpack that today, right? What is customer experience? How do you create what David introduced me to, which was raving fans? How do you create people that just love working with your business, that they're going to do it again and again? And they think that it's crazy that someone would actually use someone other than your company. To me, that's the pinnacle. That's the top, David. Would you define it or think about it differently?
Yeah, I know the way that you and I talk about it is a lot of times synonymous for us. But guys, there are these like micro journeys and micro experiences that our customers go through. Like when they call us for a leak, how does that experience feel to them? Are we providing the value that they want, or are we doing the stuff that we need to do, or we feel like we want to do in the way that we want to do it? But also, guys, there's this macro level journey. There's an experience of what does the relationship look like with our team and our company from the point of the very first conversation when we're not even working with them yet, but we're just starting the process of building a relationship all the way through to getting the first scope. But then long after that, because one thing that Chad and I talk a ton about with all of our clients is we call it onesie-twosie syndrome. We do book of business audits. We've done over 100 at this point, Chad. But you go through and
A
you
lot.
look at what the book of business audit does. It says the how much money have they spent with how much money is your customer base spent with you over the last 12 months by customer, and how many invoices have you gotten? And then we compare that up against to the approximate spend that we see they're spending in your service area based on some algorithms we have and some AI tools that we use. But what we see constantly is 80% of all of the customers for the audits that we've done all have one or two invoices, Chad. They used them
Mhm.
once or twice and never came back. And guys, we scrub it for the small Baptist church, single location. This is not that. This isn't a bunch of people that only have one leak over the course of an entire year. It's a plague. It's something that's showing the experience that we're giving them is not bringing them back to us. We're just like everybody else in some way, shape, or form. And from my perspective, that's what Chad is always, he's carried that torch brighter and stronger than anybody on how do we actually differentiate ourselves and change that narrative to give them a reason. They'd be crazy not to call us the next time around because we're just better.
100%. So when I think about customer experience, the definition is every interaction that your customer has with your brand, company, identity. It's every interaction. So everything that we do from the time we pick that phone up for when they first call us saying that they have a roof leak, all the way to the point of when they pay the invoice. Literally, how hard is it? How frustrated do they get trying to pay the invoice? I can
Oh,
just
yeah.
think through like how many things in life, it seems so crazy, but sometimes it's
Yeah.
really hard to pay something. I've had clients call me and be like, "Hey, I forgot what a P card, right? That they can use to be able to pay invoices." And he's like, "Hey, I want to pay the invoice. I got a P card. Can you guys take it?" And at the company I was at, I had to say, "No, we don't take credit cards. Can you put a check in the mail?" And he's like, "Nah, I want to pay it this way." And those are the things that blow my mind that this customer literally wanted to close out and pay his invoice. And I told him, no,
Yep.
work harder, right? Do work harder, find a different way. You figure out this problem
That's
to
right.
be able to give me money.
That's right.
And it's from all the way from the start all the way to the end. And it's just crazy that we still live in that world. Our industry is still very much in that world where if you want to pay us, that's great. Mail a check here, USPS, and we'll mark it as paid.
It's so good because so that customer has that experience. The next roofer says, yeah, yeah, we'll do it that way. Who's going to get the next call? Right. I'm
Absolutely.
going to
I
call the
fixed
guy
it
that makes it
time.
easier for me.
There was no recall. I fixed it the first time. I showed up within 24 hours. I checked in, I checked out. But the customer experience side is they suck to pay. They don't accept my P card, and let's find somebody else.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't know this is all going on, right? We lose our customers and we think we're doing all of the things right. But like you said, Chad, the 9 out of 10 things that we did right, it was the 10th one that mattered most to them.
Yeah.
And we end up losing a customer that way. And guys, remember, this is all of, we don't want the replacement. We don't want the repair. We want the relationship. And the only way to have a relationship is when you're giving that person the thing that they can't get from anybody else. If they can get it from anybody else, why are they going to be in a relationship with you? It doesn't, the relationship is what creates the customer lifetime value increase. The relationship is what gives us the opportunity to lower their spend, to show them that we're different than anybody else, for you guys to build a commercial roofing company with a customer base and a book of business that's predictable, that's valuable, instead of this running in the sand type thing that we're in. But all right, I'll get off my
Now,
soapbox. Yeah.
now you're good, right? Because it's very easy, and I think I've already done it, complicating customer experience,
Yep.
right? Because now we're like, oh my goodness, does my payment options match what my client wants? And now all of a sudden we're crazy and we don't have to go down that. We're going to make it easy for you guys today. And we're really going to break it into two areas of the business that you guys should be looking at primarily. And those two areas are sales and operations. And yes, we're talking about service here, but take it into production, take it wherever you want. It's sales and operations. And basically, it's sales making a promise and operations needing to deliver on that promise. Or if you want to take it inside that same way, it's sales setting an expectation, right? An expectation ultimately is a belief that something should or will happen. I'm thinking of things inside my head. Something as so simple as the contract getting signed and say, hey, just make sure you don't take up any parking stalls in the parking lot. Okay. Sales rep. No problem. Yeah, now we're good. Just sign the piece of paper, dude. And when you give it the operations and just that one thing, that expectation that was set, that communication that was happening, just this little thing, little, right? But when 2 trucks show up because it's a big job and now you got 2 spots in the parking lot taken up, when I specifically told you, don't park in our parking lot, don't take any of our stalls up, don't unload the garbage next to just again, do you guys see where I'm going with this?
Right.
It's so easy to be able to lose the customer experience, even though you guys are doing everything right.
Yep.
Everything's right. Sales sets the expectation and then ops delivers on that experience. So I think that's what I'd like to break open today is kind of let's look at that game,
Yeah.
break it open, and really talk about first off, I think the sales journey or the sales experience that the customer has. You want to start opening that book up?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go into, and then before we do, because I think you made a really important point, guys, this is not a game of whack-a-mole. It's not, oh, how do this customer wants it this way, this customer wants it this way. We've been doing this for long enough and we will die on this hill. It's the 20, you guys got to get really good at the 20% that drives 80% of the value in the experience. That's all you got to do. It's not, does this customer want us parking up front? Does this customer not want us parking? No customers are probably going to want you parking up front. It's just which ones complain about it. So we don't park up front for any of our customers. It's not tailored every single time. It's just what is the 20% that we do all the time that's going to drive 80% of the value. And that's where we get consistency around this stuff. And I'm glad you're bringing up the sales part first, Chad, because guys, so much of that first impression starts in sales. We end up getting treated like a commodity vendor, no matter how good our service team is. When our salespeople are going out there chasing after people, chasing after roof walks, chasing after free inspections, and just getting paper out there, right? The infamous quote, Chad, 90% of the game is getting on the roof. That was a lunch that we went on years ago, and a new VP said that, and it was like, oh no, that's not the game. No, that's not 90% of the game. Everybody can bid work. That's not how you get a relationship. But when they're just chasing people and they're trying to get bids out there, and then once they get a scope, they move on to the next one, right? Onesie-twosie, because they don't manage the account. They're just always trying to get the next one, or they're waiting for people to call them. We've created a commodity relationship based on a commodity way of trying to get revenue. Instead of going through from a sales perspective of who are we scouting? Who are we going after? Who are we really good at working with, right? Chad, you say this all the time. Who do we love working with and who loves working with us? Do we know that? Are we going after Lowe's because it's a logo? Right? Do those big box stores love working with us? Do we have a great service or are we just logo hunting? Can we bring social proof into those conversations? Are we scouting out the right type of prospects because we have a high level of confidence, conviction, and testimony that we're going to be able to solve their problems like nobody else can? Or are we spraying and praying? Like I don't know. I know you talk a ton about this in the prospecting track, Chad, but like to me, it just feels like it's very different when we're spraying and praying, just hoping we land on somebody that needs something, or logo hunting versus knowing where our lane is, knowing what verticals we're good at, and really going after those ICPs.
To me, it's about making the game as simple as possible, right? Because when you're going after everyone, that's the most complex game that you'll ever play because you don't know what building you're walking into. You don't know if they own it, they lease it. You're talking to the owner. How many times, as one of my sales development reps calls the office, the owner's wife answers and they think they're talking to the secretary when they're really talking to the owner's wife.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many things that go down when you don't know what's happening, that it's an owner occupied building. What happens when a roof leak occurs in an owner's occupied building? Let's just say hypothetically, right? They're losing time, they're losing product, all of
Mhm.
those different things. He might not
Yeah.
be able to pay his employees on Friday.
Right.
That's a very different reason than, let's just say, Menards that have hundreds of millions in the bank that they're just fine paying salary or paying their payroll this week.
Yeah.
Two completely different issues.
Yeah.
So understanding who you're going in, and that's really where I talk a lot about the self-storage side. It still is the easiest game for me to play. Why? Because I know the talk track, I know what their KPIs are, and I can walk into any self-storage building in America, say the key words, and I know if there's any pain or not.
Mhm.
I know if they have a problem or goal.
Yep.
That to me is always the easiest game, and that's where ICP comes from, right? That's where the
Yep.
whole who do you love working with, and let's go find 10 more of them.
Yep. Yeah. And I think the key thing is, guys, when you say those key words, what that actually says to them is, oh, you understand me. You understand my world. And if you understand my world, that means you've worked in my world long enough and you probably know how to help people in my world. And you don't even have to say any of that. It's just these key words. So getting really good, getting really targeted, getting consistent with who we're going after and understanding the value we can bring them and communicate that when they don't care about our repairs. They care about us getting them to their goals. They care about a relationship that's going to help them spend less money, have fewer disruptions, have fewer headaches, allow them to enjoy the Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be raining all weekend here, dude. I hope the vast majority of these buildings are in good shape or they're going to be getting calls on Memorial Day weekend when they want to just be with their families. So there's that. And then when we're prospecting, guys, and I'll buzz you this quick because we'll move over to operations. But from there, now we're just trying to get paper out there. We need to stop doing that. We need to start qualifying. We need to start making sure, are we finding the sick? Do they have a problem that's big enough that they need to solve? Or do they have a goal big enough that they want to make sure that they get in front of things? Do they actually need a new roofer? A lot of times, guys, if you just ask a prospect, how is their existing roofer knocking it out of the park? A lot of times the answer you're going to get is, I don't know, they show up. What? That's what we're up against? Oh, okay.
That's
I
right.
got it. All right. You're not in good care. That stinks. But as we're going out and prospecting the right people, understanding who is sick, qualifying them. If they're not sick, guys, it's okay. I'm more than happy to tell them, no, I'm not going to help you right now, but we're going to set up some time 30 days from now, and we're going to reassess what's going on and see if anything has changed. And I'm going to control the relationship. I'm not going to tell them that they need to make repairs before they think that they need to. We need to understand that. So we need to help them solve their problems. And the right solution at the wrong time is still the wrong solution, guys. I need you guys to understand that. It doesn't matter what your roofing acumen, if it's the right solution at the wrong time for them, it's still the wrong solution. And then from there on the sales side, we talk a ton about account management, right? Yeah, let's get operations running. But what are we doing as account managers? How are we differentiating that experience as opposed to just being a cell phone or an email that they can hit whenever they need something? Oh, yeah, just reach out if you need anything anytime you want. Oh, that's great account management? No, it's not, right? Again, we want the long-term relationship. We don't just want that initial repair. So we got to get good and clear on who we're going after. We've got to stop chasing everybody. We got to solve people's problems instead of throwing paper at them. And we need to go build that relationship long-term instead of waiting for them to get back to us. That's a different experience from the sales perspective. And it's a big part of the customer experience. It's not all on operations. And I hear too much of that, guys. Okay, we sold the job. We're done. No, you're not. You should have done well before it sold, and you need to do well afterwards. And we need to do this as a team.
100%. 100%. I love that. It's coming down to your sales reps, account managers, whoever it is, they're making a promise.
Yeah.
Right. And from an operational side, we have to deliver on that promise. And most of the time, that's where the breakdown happens, is that there is tons of conversations and what are we doing? And you know what? Let's assume that we have a great salesman and they truly find the real problem that they're trying to solve or the real goal that they're trying to achieve. It gets lost in something that's called a scope of work, because they think the scope of work solves everything. Just do this and they'll get exactly what they want. And the idea of our office doesn't open until 11 a.m. I had a liquor store one time that didn't open until 4 p.m. Do you know how many times we sent texts there at 10 a.m. as the first job? It's mind blowing to me to be able to say, we've tried going there twice, dude. They're never open. They don't open until 4 PM. That was never
Right.
you gotta just processing all of this stuff that happens, but the breakdown happens between sales and operations.
Yeah.
Because the sales side, if we get a signed contract, I'm gonna make the assumption that the customer said, "Yes, what you've put together is going to get me what I want, which is my solution or my problem," right? Solved. So the idea behind that now let's switch to the operational side, which is actually delivering on that. And David, you made a great point inside there. What's the 20% that we can do that's going to get them 80% of the results they need? So when we start processing that, I think the example of where do we park is great. We don't park in a front spot. Why? Because that's for their customers. And we know that as best practices, right? And then getting to the point of how accurate is our ETA, right? We're no longer Comcast where it's 8 to 5, right? We're at a point right now where we're being challenged up against Uber, right? Think about Uber. I had a UPS ticket or a UPS package that came through this week, and it showed me where the truck was at, right? How many stops the truck was. That's what we're up against, guys. So if you think we're battling against every other roofer on customer experience, we are so far off. We are battling what they have every single day. Domino's Tracker, Uber, going to a coffee shop and being able to see where your order is and your order is being made, right? Your order is ready for pickup. That's the world that we live in on an operational side. So start challenging yourself, not against every other roofer that has yet to raise any bar, but what your customer experience every day. That's what you're up against. So as we start figuring this out and you start saying, okay, what is my journey on an operational side? I'll tell you, we call it the service journey. And there's two journeys that we go through. The first one is called the typical service journey. Now, the typical service journey is built based upon problems, because you know what? This client got really mad. We showed up 2 hours late. So we're never going to do that again. We're going to show up 1 hour within our ETA. And that becomes your guys' personal best practices. And I love it, but it's built on problems. It's built on pissed off customers that you knew something went wrong. Oh crap, I'm reactive. We're never going to do that again. Where ultimately we need to build a perfect journey. And that perfect journey isn't built based upon problems. It's built upon ultimately solving the problems before they happen. So again, put yourself up against Uber. Is dispatching work, is sending a work order in as easy as getting a Uber right now at your house? If it's not, we have work to do. If you don't have any type of reporting system, which means the customer calls in and says, hey, I got a roof leak, and the next time they see you is when the truck shows up, think about that, right? That's 10 years ago pizza. Now I order a pizza, I get a text message 10 seconds later that says your pizza is being made, your pizza is ready, your pizza is being delivered, let alone an app that I can go check it to be able to see where it's at. That's the experience that we're trying to build, and we break it down based upon 6 different areas of the business, right? When that work order comes in, how and what are we doing to be able to give the customer peace of mind, which to me is eliminating worry, fear, and anxiety that they have a problem. How efficiently are we scheduling that job? What are we doing on site? Are we lifting our head up and opening our eyes to be able to find additional deficiencies? Or are we just out there fixing the one leak that they have? Right? Order 2 large pizzas and they say, if you just get larges, we got a deal and it saves you a couple dollars. Congratulations. That's an on-site upsell. I'm up here and I see 3 other punctures. I can take care of those as well. Right? We start putting all of these things inside place that we're already accustomed to in everyday life, yet we drop the ball and we under-deliver from a roofing side.
Yeah.
And this is what creates the confusion of, why can't my roofer just be better? Why can't my roofer do this? And sometimes it is the saddest thing inside my world is that they just accept us.
Yeah.
They accept our industry for what it is. They accept our industry that, you know what? No, they can't do any of that. And it continues to keep Uber, Amazon, and Google and everything else at this pinnacle because we can never reach it. And to me, it's the furthest from the truth. We have ample things that we can do within technology, within ourselves, within our processes, all of that stuff. And that's really what today is about, is that customer experience.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys do a lot of stuff. That's great. But what do you do for your customers? What are you doing for yourself? And what are you doing for your customers? Because the chances are, and I'll tell you this from experience, we do way too much for ourselves and way too little for our customers. And that's where this whole thing falls apart. What do
Yep.
you do for your customer? How do you shorten the gap between the time the customer calls and the time you get on site? From the time you get on site to the time the invoice shows up, from the time the invoice shows up to the time it's paid. And how do you make it easy for them? That's what customer experience is. It's the sum of every single interaction that your customer has had with your company or brand or identity.
Yeah.
Think about that every interaction, right? So we have our sales team that's out there that's meeting people. And I always used to say this on the telemarketing side, the SDR side, that when you make that call, that's the first time they've ever heard of the company. It can be $100 million company. And you know what? You got this 17-year-old kid placing a phone call to someone that knows nothing about you, which means they have one interaction, which means it's 100% of what they know about you. And if that call goes wrong, if they don't present themselves correctly, if they say something rude, that's who you are to that company. That's who you are to that person. And it takes a lot to change that. So I would take the whole customer experience thing really serious, because if you guys want a strong brand, if you guys want a strong trust, a following, a tribe of people that are just like, you guys are kick ass and we're only using you, it's customer experience. I'm telling you this. So how much do you do for yourself? How much do you do for your customer? And that's what we're challenging. That's what we're help building in this industry. That's why we build the perfect service journey with contractors every single day, to be able to say, what are we doing to improve our experience for our customer? Because we know if we improve that experience, we don't park in that spots. We have easier ways for them to be able to pay. Those are the things that are going to keep those customers coming back. Because I promise you, very few customers want to work harder to be able to work with you. And that's
100%.
me off my soapbox now, Mr. Bonnie.
There you go. And guys, it's not, I'm going to double down on what Chad's saying, but I'm going to make it a little, right? A little harsher. Your customer experience is the main driver of predictability of revenue in your business. It just is. We're all going to go to the things that are easier to use. I don't care if my uncle made computers, Chad, I wouldn't stop buying my Apple products because my Apple products just make it easier. Now, it's not as easy as it used to be, but back in the day, they made it a lot easier, right? But if my aunt created the next quote unquote Amazon, I wouldn't care. I probably wouldn't use it because Amazon is just easier. There's nothing in this relationship, guys, that we think we're leaning on, that we're owed anything by any of our customers. We either make their life easier or we don't. We either give them a great journey or we don't. And when we don't, that's where you get the unpredictable revenue. That's where you get the unpredictable conversion rate of large jobs. That's when you start losing customers. When all of a sudden your dispatcher or service manager says, hey, this customer hasn't called us the last few times it's rained. Guess what, guys? It's already too late. You've already lost them. They're already in somebody else's arms. And they might have been giving you 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, and it's gone because we didn't have the experience. So this is the way to create predictability in your business, guys. We don't want to tinker with things for tinker's sake. We want to make sure we're focusing on the right business strategies, operational cadences that are necessary to win. Last thing I'm going to say to tie it all back up to sales, Chad, guys, it is way easier to close deals when you can now actually say this. Hey, so when working with us, guys, I just want to make sure you understand how we operate. We're never going to park up front. We're never going to take up that prime real estate. We're always going to give you an ETA the day before and call you the morning of. We're going to, because now your salespeople know what the journey is because it's documented and laminated. Now they can sell it before your customers ever experience it. And then when you guys follow through on what the salesperson said, trust goes through the roof. That's all trust takes, is doing the thing you said you're going to do. No matter how great the thing you said was, you just got to do it. So now we convert more because we're giving them a purview of what it's like to work with us. We're fulfilling on it. Trust is increasing. We're building that relationship and we're winning. There's so much opportunity out there for us, guys.
I love it. Okay, so hopefully this opened up your guys's head. Hopefully it maybe brought some things of what you guys can get better at, or how you guys are just going to take this and level up. Because again, do not compare. Please do not compare yourself to every other roofer. That is not the bar that we're trying to hit. Take yourself to every experience that you have, every restaurant that you go to, the coffee shop that you go to, the next thing that you order off Amazon, the next time that you're traveling and you use Uber to be able to get a car. Look how easy they've made it. Is it that easy to work with you or your company? And if not, we got work to do. That's the experience side, and that's what we're driving toward, guys. So that's what we got. Thank you, Mr. Bonnie. As always, you're awesome. Yeah. Words of affirmation. Guys, I love it. I'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll be jamming out. Mr. Bonnie, this is it. This is Roof Force. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.